There was a video I watched some time ago where, there was a couple that was being interviewed.
Yeah.
And, the interviewer asked them, do you think marriage is ultimately for your happiness or for your sanctification?
Wow.
Right? That was the question. And that was interesting to me. I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think culture teaches us that marriage is just for our happiness.
Yes.
And if you expect marriage to be just for your happiness, you're going to be disappointed because
Yeah.
marriage can be hectic at times. You know,
Yes.
you're not always happy. I think
Yes.
really God's plan for marriage is that it's going to expose the flaws in yourself.
Yes.
And it's going to teach you how to die to self.
Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Nah, just joking. Wipilo unfortunately couldn't join us because this is, as you can see, a young husband's chat. So today I'm joined by Ntsako Mgiba,
Yeah.
very good friend of mine. So I just had to tailor down his bio because it was filled with a lot of stuff. So I was like, okay, I need to, just mention the key parts. So Ntsako is a Mandela Rhodes scholar. So he founded Jonga, which is a security company, which he'll, elaborate more on. He's a young husband. He's passionate about leadership, and he also has a YouTube channel. So you can search his YouTube channel. It speaks about leadership, speaks about entrepreneurial stuff, and it's called Ntsako Mgiba. But the name of the channel was Focus Millennial. But if you search Ntsako Mgiba, you can find it on YouTube.
Yeah, I need to change that at some point because I keep saying Focus Millennial.
Yeah.
But you have to search for my name. But
Absolutely.
First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. It really is an honor and a privilege to be on this channel, this fast-growing channel. Like you said, I run a company called Jonga, and that's just, it's a tech startup.
Yeah.
And we're trying to, make security more widely available, particularly for people in low-income communities.
Yeah.
Because we realize that a lot of the big companies are not targeting that area. And people are so close knit in these communities, so we came up with the solution that leverages your existing community and your local police to get help to you when you need it the most. So that's what Jonga is.
And I really loved your, obviously we're not talking about the business, but I really loved the way, like, your vision and why you actually started the company to bring security to low income households. And that's where most of the crime happens.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I do. And then, that journey kind of spun out into me starting to advise people one-on-one basis, other founders. And, I just realized that they often had the same questions. Yeah. And that's kind of what led to the YouTube channel. Yeah. Where I realized that, I could have these one-on-one discussions, but there's so many other people asking the exact same questions. Yeah. That's what I started. And really the Focus Millennial is an attempt for me to help, democratize all of my learnings, all of my experiences, sharing those answers that, the few answers that I have with people who are starting on their own journey, whether it be leadership or just starting your business. Yeah. And that's really what it is. Yeah.
That's amazing. So check it out. Check out his channel, Ntsako Mgiba. So the channel's name is Ntsako Mgiba. But it's called Focus Millennial.
Yeah.
So
Fantastic.
So how long have you been married, man? Seems like 2 years now, or 3 years.
Yeah.
Because you're literally the first person out of, the J's. Like, if I look at the guys that I know, the young guys that I know, you're literally the first person.
Yeah. Well, I got married in December 2020. We managed to find a pocket in the middle of lockdown. Right, where I think we were on level 3 and we just went for it. Yeah. So it's probably been about a year now and a couple of months, in a month.
Hectic. How old were you at the time?
I was 25. I was 35.
That's young.
Interestingly enough, growing up, I always used to say, I want to get married at 25.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I was like 28.
Really?
Yeah, I was like 28. I was like,
you're an overachiever.
Yeah. No, I was like 28.
Yeah.
25.
I was 25. Yeah.
And what would you say as a young husband, right? Yeah. Because as husbands, we're given this role of being a leader in the family, right? And it can be quite daunting at times.
It is, yeah.
So you need a sort of a set of principles, especially as a Christian couple, as in these are the principles that I'm going to lead my family by. So what kind of principles do you think you use in your marriage to be able to lead that institution?
Sure. That's a good question. I always thought when I have a family, I would be the type who would have my values printed on a a picture and put it on
Yeah.
the wall, and would even have like a family symbol. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like those wealthy families, they've got
Yes.
the family symbol.
Yeah.
I've been quite surprised by how chilled I've actually been inside marriage. Obviously, I really am a student of leadership.
Yeah.
So I take those principles everywhere that I go, including my relationship. And I think, just to name a couple of principles within like the broader leadership topic is, like integrity, just always trying to ensure that
that's important.
I'm doing things in an integrous way, not just, when my wife is watching me or so to speak, but also kind of like, just carrying that same energy wherever I go, respecting her even when she's not there and so forth. I think that's one of the big ones. I know a big one that we love is also honesty.
Yeah.
And transparency. So, and this is one that my wife's been championing a lot.
Honesty and transparency.
Yeah. She wants to know, like, okay, cool. What did you have for lunch? And, like,
and there's a difference between the two, eh?
Yeah.
Because being honest. So if let's say my wife didn't ask me,
cool.
do you have kids?
Cool.
And I didn't mention it.
Yeah.
It's still something that it's still something that can bring sort of like a challenge in the marriage, because just because she didn't ask me doesn't mean I can't volunteer that information.
That's so true.
So I think there's a big difference between the two.
There is. And I think for her, she just really wants the kind of relationship where we can tell each other anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's really been good, because
yeah.
You're not always flirting and being lovey-dovey. Sometimes you just need to have conversations.
Yes.
And I think that's really been awesome to be able to just share, like, okay, cool, this is what's happening in my life, and so forth. So I think that honesty and transparency, another big one. What other principles would I say? You see, a lot of times you're not intentional, you're not conscious of what you're doing.
I think it comes down to also, because I share the same sentiments as you. I don't like write things and have something on my wall, those sorts of things, right? I think it's just wired in you in a way, because the way you do your business, you do it with honesty, you do it with integrity. So I think you also take those principles as well into your family. Like you pray for your business, obviously. So obviously you will pray for your marriage. So I think it just becomes something that's so wired in you. It's not like something that you like have like a billboard or something in your house. Or
exactly. But one of the things that we do, and I'm really proud about this, is the fact that we have a daily devotional.
That's
together,
good.
right? So this is something that I took as a principle from my parents.
Yes.
Literally from the day I was born until
you're so privileged,
like every single night, there was not a single night where we didn't pray as a family.
Hectic.
Right? All of us together. And, as we got older, my parents would start to give us opportunities to share, a little message or whatever. So, I always knew that, when I get married, I want to continue that, that like touch point where as a family where we pray together. So it's nothing really hectic. It's kind of like during the day as I'm reading the word, I'll think about like maybe a revelation that I get from reading that. And then I'll try and turn that into a mini sermonette that I can just share, like a 2-minute, hey, let's read from this scripture. And then I'll break it down in terms of the revelation I have. And then we'll pray. And sometimes I'll give her the I'll delegate the responsibility to her. And I think prayer is a big principle of value in our house. Thankfully, my wife comes from a very prayerful like family as well.
We know that.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't have to like push that too hard. I would say that's probably the biggest thing. But also finally is family as well. I think that's something that, we're very big on. Both sides.
Wow.
So that once again comes really easy.
Prayer is a big thing. Prayer is a big. So speaking of prayer, right? As a young lion, as a young man, right? Obviously now you're married, but as young men, there's this thing in society where it seems so difficult to preserve yourself for marriage, wait for marriage to engage in sexual activities. So how did you overcome that? Did you just pray, or was there other stuff involved? Why is it so hard for men to wait for marriage, and what sort of things can we do to be able to preserve ourselves for marriage?
Well, look, man, I don't care if you're a saint or whoever, but right, if you put yourself in difficult situations, you're going to mess up, right? So I think it's really about trying.
But what a difficult situation.
I think we know it. Well, okay, let me define it, right? If you know yourself and you know what your limits are, then you don't want to cross those, right? You don't want to bring the fire close to your chest, expecting that you won't get burned. So if you know you're somebody who, past 10 p.m., like that's the cutoff. Nothing good happens past 10 p.m. Then you need to ensure that you can, remove yourself from situations where you're alone, one-on-one past 10 p.m. So I think it ultimately comes down to understanding, your personal boundaries. You can't use anyone else as like a standard. Like, okay, maybe your friend, chills with his girlfriend until like 12 p.m. That's up to them, right? If they know what their limits are. But you can't then say, oh, okay, well, it's 10 p.m. and that's your limit. But you're like, well, other Christians are doing it till 12 p.m. So, you put yourself in a very risky situation, right? So I think it's about just proactively not putting yourself in a position where you have to exercise your willpower.
But do you think that it's more difficult for men to wait? Because what I've seen is that most women are I don't know whether they find it actually find it easier, but more women are more likely to wait than guys. That's a pretty accurate observation, I would say. I do think it's becoming increasingly harder for women though as well. I almost feel like it's getting it's getting to that becoming
point.
Even now.
Exactly. Because I mean there's this general movement that says, whatever guys do, women, we want to do that as well. Which I don't, I've got my own opinions about that. But, I definitely wouldn't say it's easy for women. I think it's just about like, the risk is so much higher for women. That, if they, as a guy, you can just, leave and move on to the next one. And you really leave her in a very broken state, So, and also just the shame that comes with the consequences of perhaps like, like unwanted pregnancy, all that stuff. That's the weight that we don't have to carry as guys, right? So I think that all kind of has an influencing factor in terms of women being more inclined to say, hey, hold on, let's wait until we've got that security of marriage before we can do certain things. And I think that makes perfect sense.
And I think also for women, right? In men's community, being a virgin until you get married is it's looked down upon. Like men, guys in our communities, it's like, did you sleep with her? Like if I say I went out with her, did you sleep with her?
Exactly. That's
Whereas
the first question.
Women, I think it's something that's glorified. Like it's good for you to keep yourself.
Exactly.
So I think it's that.
I think it's a bit of like a double standard in a way, because as guys you get celebrated for doing the wrong thing, and then as women you get shunned and named and labeled. So I think that obviously all has an influencing factor. But I think another reason to answer the question, why it's difficult, I think it's because a lot of times we overestimate our ability to stop ourselves at the last minute. So I think you have to have accountability structures. You almost have to plan to fail. Like, I'm going to fail, so I'm going to put everything in place to ensure that I don't get to a place where I fail. And that means, if that means you need to have guys that you walk with, do that. Like have accountability partners. When you go out, that one friend that asks, hey, how was it? What did you guys get up to? Obviously you can always lie, but I mean, you can always find a way around these things. But if you are serious and, you say, hey, I actually want to get this right, then you will tell the truth. And, I think that that's super important, having accountability, especially as a young man. There's nothing more confusing as like being a young man. You know what I mean? Like there's so many challenges, so many feelings, so many things like that, So what I did in my case was that, luckily I lived with my business partners.
Oh, yes.
So we literally lived in the same house. So that was already a layer of security. But
they're not those guys that encourage you.
And they're the guys who would encourage me out of something like that. But I also had like a friend / discipler who was older than me, and I could go to him and be like, hey, these are the challenges I have, these are the thoughts that I have, and he was always he always allowed me to be extremely vulnerable. And I think that really helped. I think let's be practical about it. You can pray, absolutely. But let's put practical boundaries to stop ourselves from.
And I always say that ultimately it is the guy's responsibility to preserve the purity, because Adam was there with Eve. Eve is the one that took the apple and she ate it first and gave it to Adam. But just because Eve ate it and gave it to Adam doesn't mean you have to eat it.
Absolutely.
Because ultimately God asked Adam.
They
asked him. They didn't ask Eve.
The buck stops with you. Unfortunately.
So,
fortunately, it does.
So absolutely. So given that you waited for marriage, was sex one of the biggest motivators? Like, why did you choose to get married young? Like 25.
Yeah, this is the famous one, right? Everyone always feels like Christian couples get married.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just for sex. Interestingly enough, I kind of knew very early on in my relationship with my now wife that I wanted to marry her.
Yeah.
And it didn't really have much to do with like...
That's good.
Yeah, obviously that's always the back of your mind. I'm not
obviously,
gonna lie now. You know, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that definitely is something. But I think for me it was really more the fact that, you know, growing up in a home where I got to observe a very functional marriage.
Yeah.
I always felt like, you know, marriage was an advantage, not a disadvantage. And I think a lot of people, specifically in our generation, feel like marriage is going to slow you down. Yeah. Marriage is going to, you know, you're going to have to defer your dreams, right? But that was quite the opposite of what I saw in my family, right? Like my dad, you know, invested so much in my mom, and vice versa as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, they'd always say like, there are certain things I didn't even have in my own dreams for myself.
Yeah.
But it was the dream that the other person had for me. Yeah. Right? Like now my dad has his PhD. My mom is working on her PhD. My mom was like, I didn't even have those ambitions.
Yes.
But because your father was pushing me, you know, I'm now in this place where I'm a better person. Yeah. So I think for me, I always saw it as like, you know, 2 is better than 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think, it's that negative stigma of it's gonna like it's still a thing, especially if you in corporate, like if you married, you always feel like, oh, you'll get slowed down, but you don't actually realize that, you know, there's so many benefits. So what would you say what are some of the benefits and what are some of the challenges with being married as a husband?
That's a good question. It's a good question. It's a good question. I think, you know, one of the benefits is sex.
Of course.
I'll just put it out there. But I mean, it's so much deeper than that, really. I think that it's about having a friend. You know, life is difficult, especially at this stage in our lives. There's so much competition. There's so many things happening, and you know, just having somebody that you can, you know, come back to. Yeah. And you know, you guys can just like energize one another. You can, you know, you can debrief about the day with one another. Once again, that's one of the things that I saw in my parents' relationship, and I was like, hey, I want this. You know, and I think that's probably been the most rewarding aspect of marriage, is having somebody that you can just, you know, be real with, be yourself. You know, as you step out into the world, there's an expectation of who you need to be. Right? People, they expect you to be a particular way because you've always put yourself out a particular way, and that can be very exhausting. Right? Sometimes you're just like, ugh, I just don't want to feel like that guy now. I just want to just be lazy and, you know. And I think that, you know, having a partner, somebody who's genuinely your friend, they create that space for you to really be yourself, you know, and you can just relax. You know, so I think that's probably the biggest benefit. Did you also ask for the challenges as well?
Yes, challenges as well.
All right.
As a young husband.
Cool. I hope my wife's not watching this. She probably will. Okay, let me think about this. Some of the challenges. I think, okay, one, if you're somebody who really loves your own freedom and your own time, then, you know, you might find that extremely difficult because the person's there. They're there, you know. So I think that, you know, it's a challenge is the adapting from living a very self-centered life, a very selfish life, into now, you know, constantly being other-centric. Like you're constantly thinking about, you know, I wonder if she's okay. I wonder if she's fine. You know, and I think that can be quite a big adjustment. Obviously, as well, being in a relationship, it's always a risk in the sense that, you know, the relationship could either go well or not so well sometimes. And I think that can affect your emotional space. Right. So whereas before you could just move, you know, you're just oblivious to the world. But now you have a fight in the morning and you're the whole day you're just trying to keep this smile. But you're like, I'm not okay.
And I think also for me, I would say also handling your ego, because fighting actually exposes you. It exposes the bad traits that you have.
Big time.
So it chows your ego.
Big time.
So I think as men, we inherently have egos. So I think being able to be like, hey, I just got chowed. So
She's schooling me.
So I think being able to, that for me, I think would be one of the biggest
no, look, marriage will deal with your pride.
No, it will show you.
It'll deal with your ego.
Expose. Thing is, it's what my wife says, marriage is like a mirror. it will show you who you truly are.
Yeah.
Literally.
That's so profound. Yeah, that's so profound. You know, there was a video I watched some time ago where, you know, there was a couple that was being interviewed.
Yeah.
And, you know, the interviewer asked them, do you think marriage is ultimately for your happiness or for your sanctification?
Wow.
Right? That was the question. And that was interesting to me. I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think culture teaches us that marriage is just for our happiness.
Yes.
And if you expect marriage to be just for your happiness, you're going to be disappointed because
Yeah.
marriage can be hectic at times. You know,
Yes.
you're not always happy. I think
Yes.
really God's plan for marriage is that it's going to expose the flaws in yourself.
Yes.
And it's going to teach you how to die to self.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it actually is for our sanctification. Yes, it is also there to, you know, make us happy.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's for our sanctification. And the reason why I'm sharing this story is because it ultimately becomes a challenge for people. Because if you go into marriage and you feel like, hey, I'm doing this because I want to be happier.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're going to struggle.
Yeah.
Because it's not for your happiness. That
Yeah.
wasn't the original intent for marriage. It's actually for your sanctification.
Wow.
Happiness is just a byproduct if you marry well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, this thing of Indoda must be cancelled.
Let's cancel that thing. Let's cancel that thing. Guys.
Literally.
Oh.
It's not for you.
Yeah. You know what? Like, I think it should be, you know, a spouse must. You
Yes.
know? It mustn't just be Indoda must.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's how you maintain a good relationship
Yeah.
is trying to outserve one another.
Yeah.
And I think currently it's about a thing of like, no, serve me. Indoda must serve me.
Yes.
And Indoda also, you know, he gets tired, eh?
yeah. Absolutely.
He gets tired.
And then, you know, like so you probably consider yourself as a good boy. I consider you as a good boy. I would, if I was to rate myself against the average guy, I would consider myself a good boy as well, right?
Yeah.
And we married, right?
Yeah.
Both married young and stuff. But why do you think in society, especially like in dating and stuff, why do good guys finish last?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, interestingly enough, growing up, I always got this comment from women where they were like, you know, Ntsako, you're the type that, you know, we want to marry. We don't want to date you right now. We want to marry you. And I always found
you see, you are the good guy.
Exactly.
So you won't get,
you're the good guy.
You won't get it for dating.
You know what I mean?
But for marriage, it's like, you're perfect.
You know, I always find that such an interesting comment. So yeah, just to that point of...
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Do you watch The Wife?
The Wife. Yeah. Actually, we started The Wife. Very interesting.
Have you seen the part where the good guy?
Yeah.
You see.
Yeah.
It's literally how it is.
Yeah. And it's so interesting how social media, everyone's like, yeah, that's a man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that guy's abusive. But okay, that's another story altogether.
Yeah.
But I think why do good guys finish last? I don't think they do.
Is it?
I don't think they do.
Okay.
You know what?
Yeah.
Honestly, like the friends that I envy the most are the ones that have got the least experience.
Yes.
When it comes to this dating realm.
Yes.
Because they don't have all this baggage. They don't have all this hurt.
No, I'm talking from a girl's perspective.
Okay.
Why do girls not go for
why?
the good guys?
Why? Okay. Well, I mean, look, I think at that teenage stage, you know, you don't really know yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And now you're trying to go out there and, you know, be with someone else when you don't even know, you're not even comfortable with yourself. So I think, one, I'll chalk it up to like a bit of, you know, naivety in that you don't know what you want.
Yes.
You don't know what's good for you.
Yes.
And also you're so hot-headed at that point. No one can tell you anything, right?
Yeah.
Like your parents can tell you like, hey, find a guy who's responsible, blah, blah, blah. But you're just like, nah, I'm not about that, right? So I think that's ultimately what it is that, you know, the dating system is kind of messed up because we don't know ourselves.
Yeah.
We are dating for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, there's no intention for it to go all the way, if we're being 100% honest.
And it's majority based on lust anyway.
And it's majority based on lust. Yeah, if we're being 100% honest. So I think that's ultimately what it is, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to like, you know, like shame people who made these decisions because I mean, you didn't even know yourself. Like shame, you know what I mean? You didn't even know yourself. And it's looking back in my own dating life, I didn't know myself.
Yeah.
You know, and I always tell my wife like, oh, I honestly wish I just had never dated. I honestly wish that you were the only person. Yeah. You know, and we joke about it, and I say I have no exes. They're all spiritual sisters. They're all sisters in Christ.
I also don't have exes, eh?
Exactly. So I think that's probably the best answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's the last thing that these bad guys bring. Like they bring a lot of lustful
Yeah.
desires to you. Like
Yeah.
they're the ones who do. They know
Yeah.
how to trick you
Yeah,
into
yeah.
thinking that they are the one.
Oh yeah.
So I
No,
think you have to
guys
be-
know the tricks, man.
Yo,
Guys know the tricks.
they'll sell you dreams.
We know all the tricks.
Yeah.
So you're 100%
Yeah.
correct. You know, I think really my prayer is that you know
Mm.
our children are going to know themselves a lot better.
Yeah.
They're going to grow up in households where they're affirmed by us as
Yeah.
husbands
Yeah.
or as fathers to
Yeah.
them. Because then you know you're not going to be moved the
Yeah.
first time a guy tells you I love you,
Yeah.
right? But if you're hearing it for the first time
Yeah.
from this dude
Yeah.
who's like 4 years older than you,
Yeah.
he's kind of playing like in a way the role of your father.
Yeah.
If you think about it, and there's a certain security that comes with that, and you know I get it.
Yeah.
But I think that you know we as husbands we've got the responsibility.
Absolutely.
You know that we need to affirm our daughters
Yeah.
so that they don't find themselves in a space where there's a love deficit, and then it's
Wow.
about who can fill
Wow.
that void.
Wow.
And the same goes to our sons. I feel like our sons as well. They,
Yeah.
you know, like us, right? We were broken as well.
Yeah.
We were broken as well. Like I think for us, it was always like a power thing. Perhaps maybe a lot of us grew up in families where you know your dad was very like, you know, assertive and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
for you kind of you know aspire to that where
Yeah.
like I'm going to be assertive. I'm going to apply pressure and stuff like that. So I think in a way we're also very broken.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. No, thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, on a lighter note,
Yeah.
we're gonna play a quick game. Let me just open it up.
You didn't tell me about this.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So it's called Kill One, right? You know,
Alright.
I'm sure you know this game.
Kill one, all right?
Yeah. So you have to kill. So if I tell you two things, you have to kill.
I have to kill
you
one.
have to choose. Yeah, which one you're killing.
Okay, cool.
Shares or cryptocurrency?
Oh. All right, this is difficult.
It can't be that difficult.
I'm going to kill cryptocurrency.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'll tell you.
No way.
I'll tell you why. I bought some Ethereum the other day.
Yeah. And it went down by like.
Yeah. Same day, I think I was like, what's going on here? Well, I didn't really buy it as an investment tool. I just wanted to kind of understand the space.
Oh, okay.
I'll kill it because I fundamentally don't understand,
Crypto.
like, you know.
The underlying value.
Yeah. So I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think as a prudent investor,
Yeah.
I'm not going to invest in something I don't yet understand.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So I think, you know, shares are a good bet. Also, shares helped me get married, by the way. It's an
Actually,
interesting
are you
story.
serious?
It's a very interesting
Yeah.
story, but
I'll kill shares. Okay.
yeah, cool.
Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Why?
Because look, I have nothing against Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook,
Yeah,
I'm on
yeah,
WhatsApp. But I just think that, like, you know, Bill Gates his focus right now resonates more with me.
Okay.
You know, everyone else is focusing on taking us to space, taking us into
Yeah.
a new dimension. And Bill Gates is like, what, you know, we still have issues to solve
Yeah,
right here.
yeah.
And I agree with that. So I think I lean more towards let's deal with human problems, deal with diseases,
Yes,
let's
yes.
deal with that stuff before we think about space and yeah.
And if I was to say Elon Musk, Bill Gates, I knew that would be
same, honestly.
still Bill Gates.
Same.
I thought you'd choose Elon Musk.
I know,
for
I
some
mean,
reason.
because I'm an engineer,
Yeah.
people expect me to go, look, I mean, for me, I'm not that type of person who likes technology for technology's sake.
Yeah.
I like it insofar as how it can help us solve human problems.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's currently what Bill Gates is focusing on. And the others are kind of focusing more on, I guess, you know, amassing resources, being the biggest tech company.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really resonate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Merc or Beamer?
Definitely killing a Beamer.
Okay. Nah,
Yeah,
that's obvious.
definitely. No, Merc has just got this sophistication about
Yeah.
it that, you know, yeah.
Yeah, no, that one is obvious.
Yeah.
Jonga or Focus Millennial?
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Okay, well, look, both of them are very impactful. I ultimately think Jonga is going to do more good in the world. So I think,
so Focus.
yeah. But
Brings
I mean,
food to the table right now, so you can't.
but this is such a tough one because
Yeah.
you know I really love teaching the stuff that I learned.
Yes.
So it'll be difficult.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Focus Millennial.
Yeah.
Okay. So the very last thing,
Yeah.
right, in closing,
Yeah.
is, you know, after
Yeah.
after your passing, right, and if there was a billboard
Mhm.
about you,
Yeah.
what would you want that billboard to say about you? Like, basically, what do you want people to remember about you?
That is profound. Okay, first of all, I'd want them to say that, you know, I walked with God.
Wow.
I think that that's extremely important to me.
You ran the race.
Yeah, I ran the race, man. I kept the faith. I think that's ultimately my goal in life. I think I'd also like it to say that I was a good husband to my wife.
Wow.
And I think the third thing is that I treated people fairly.
Yeah.
I think that that's extremely important to me. You know, I don't want that kind of success that comes with stepping on people.
And it's very easy to do that.
Yeah, it's very easy to do that. I also don't want a type of success that is exclusionary. That's the reason why I put out content. I could just focus on my own business. I'll probably grow it faster.
Yeah.
But I've learned things till now.
Yeah.
And I want to share that, you know, so that other people can get started.
Yeah.
So I think that, you know, I treated people fairly, even if they were different to me, different orientation, different whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to be said that Ntsako was, you know, he excluded us.
Yeah.
In a way. So I think that's what I wanted to say.
No, that's profound.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much for coming through. And I'm sure this will be
Thanks.
a very great conversation for people.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. And we'll see you on our next video. Cheers.
Awesome. Bye.
Oh, shucks. By the way, guys, my wife just reminded me to remind you guys to please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Cheers, guys.